now, WFXR News Weather First, Virginia's most accurate forecast.
Good evening. It is a beautiful blustery day of changing weather. Look at this view from the Hunting Hills Family Dentistry, a view from the zoo. Beautiful cumulus clouds set against a blue sky. We're going to continue to see the sky scour out a little bit tonight as the front passes on through. 74 right now, and we've got winds north-northwest at 19, gusts up to about 25, even close to 30 miles an hour. We'll take a look at your pinpoint weather forecast throughout the region. It's coming up in just a couple minutes.
And now, WFXR News, live at Lane.
Good evening, and thank you for joining us for this special edition of WFXR News at 6. We are live in a windy Blacksburg outside of Lane Stadium as the Hokies get ready to take on the Mountaineers for the Black Diamond Trophy. I'm Kathleen Stone.
And I'm Jerome. We've got sports director Jermaine Farrell here with us. About 90 minutes to kick off. Couldn't ask for a better day, though.
I'll tell you, great day, a lot of enthusiasm. I mean, the fans are fired up. There's a good mixture of West Virginia and Virginia Tech fans. But guess what? We're not alone out here, because we're going to have my buddy, the fourth member of our team, David de Guzman. He is inside Lane Stadium on the sidelines to give us a little bit more insight in this historic matchup.
Well, this will be the 54th meeting all time between West Virginia and Virginia Tech. Hard to believe, though, this is actually the first time the Mountaineers have visited Blacksburg since 2004. We're expecting a sellout crowd here at Lane Stadium, and there's so many intriguing storylines. West Virginia will be by far the most competitive and toughest team that Brent Pry has faced so far in his short tenure as head coach. And Grant Wells, a native of Charleston, West Virginia, he says that he's been looking forward to this game for quite some time. We're going to hear from both of those individuals later in the show, but for now, let's send it back out to our set outside Lane Stadium.
Thank you so much, David. Guys, 54 times this will be the number of these matchups here. West Virginia, Virginia Tech, I tell you, and they've been playing this series for more than 100 years.
It's just so surprising to see how many times they go back and forth. You know, the trophy goes to West Virginia, it goes to Virginia. Obviously, this year, Hokies are hoping to get it back.
Hey, that's what they're going to try to do tonight.
And you heard David talk about it, a sellout tonight. So, and we've seen the people from both sides here. It's going to be fun.
Yeah, and we're also going to talk about the history of this rivalry. That's going to come up in just a little bit.
All right, but before that, we want to check back in the studio. Evan Johnson has a look at your headlines tonight. Evan.
Hey guys, you guys always get the best assignment. I'm a little jealous there, but I see you're fighting the win there. Hopefully you guys are having a great time out there. But we want to take a look now at some of our top news stories this evening. And we're going to start in Roanoke, where police are investigating several more threats made against local schools. Today, students at James Madison Middle and Fishburne Park Elementary Schools were evacuated this morning while police investigated a potential bomb threat. Shortly after, students at Lucy Addison Middle School were placed on a hold and secure for a separate threat investigation. Parents and guardians are now asking for more security and better communication from the schools.
So every day, it's a high anxiety between school hours of what could and couldn't happen.
Well, in its robocalls to families, Roanoke City Public Schools emphasizes if you see something, say something. The school district is also asking families to talk with their kids about the consequences for making threats, adding threats can be punishable by law. The school district and local police have just put out a video message regarding the uptick in school threats. You can find it in its entirety on our website, WFXRTV.com. Well, now may be a good time for you to go ahead and fill up your gas tank. The steady decline of gas prices may be over. AAA says the prices at the pump have now risen 2 days in a row, ending a nearly 100-day streak of declines. Virginia's average is around $3.38 a gallon. That's about 30 cents cheaper than the national average. Well, one of Governor Glenn Youngkin's first executive orders stated the Virginia DMV wasn't living up to expectations. Well, tonight we are getting a look at the progress. The acting DMV commissioner says average wait times are now 15 minutes. That's down from 45 minutes back in 2019. The DMV says a big factor for this change is the new system of offering appointments and walk-in service at the same time rather than on alternating days. Well, in this week's Dealing with Dollars, we are looking at ways you can save at the grocery store. A recent report shows consumer prices rose 0.1% from July to August. And that can really add up and put a strain on families that are already struggling to get by. But a local financial planner and father of 5, Maynard Keller, shares a way you can save a little.
When you go shopping, have a list and check it twice. That way you avoid going down that snack food aisle, and it keeps you on track.
Keller has several more tips for saving at the grocery store. Make sure you tune in tonight, first at 10, for more of his money-saving advice. All right, well, that about wraps up things here in the studio. Let's go back out live to Lane Stadium. Guys, I know the excitement is building because we are inching closer to kickoff time.
Well, Evan, first of all, did a great job on the news. And guys, he is right. We are getting closer to the ball being kicked off, the Black Diamond Trophy on the line, Virginia Tech, West Virginia.
People are starting to get rowdier out here.
Yes, they are. I was going to say, you can see the people behind us filing in, trying to get into that stadium.
Yelling some stuff, you know?
Yeah, they're having a lot of fun, if you catch our drift.
That's true.
Now, earlier David mentioned that this is the 54th, meeting for the two teams. And we actually want to turn things over to Ryan Moy, who's actually going to take a look back at the rivalry.
From the rolling hills of Blacksburg to the banks of the Monongahela River, Virginia Tech and West Virginia have been facing off on the field since 1912 in what was a decisive victory for the Hokies. But it would be another 60 years and 18 games later before the on and off series takes on true rivalry status. The year 1974, both teams wrapping up a rough year in Blacksburg. Likely no one expected the game to come down to the wire, Virginia Tech missing 2 chances to win the game on a field goal, 22-21 Mountaineers. From that moment on, the rivalry ignited, blistering hot for more than 30 years. Those decades woven with careers of storied coaches and players like Frank Beamer, Michael Vick, and Mark Bolger, Don Nealon, and incredible moments like the miracle in Morgantown. It would also see the official naming of the rivalry, the Battle for the Black Diamond. The trophy, introduced in 1997, spending the majority of its life in Blacksburg. But in 2004, Virginia Tech left the former Big East Conference to join the ACC, pressing pause on the series after the following year. Fast forward to a neutral site meeting near DC in 2017, and the third Virginia Tech victory in a row would revive interest in the matchup. The rivalry revived again starting last year, and it was the Mountaineers who were victorious. The Hokies leaving the Black Diamond Trophy in Morgantown. And tonight, they look for redemption. Ryan Moy, Wfxr Sports.
Thanks so much, Ryan. And I tell you, there's so much great history, Drew and Kathleen, when you talk about the Mountaineers and the Hokies.
And you heard Ryan mention it. It's a shot at redemption tonight for the Hokies, and that's weighing on head coach Brent Pry. Well, we want to check back in with David de Guzman inside Lane Stadium for more on that shot at redemption.
Well, guys, the fact of the matter is that Brent Pry was already looking ahead to this game at this time last week when the Hokies were preparing to take on Wofford, knowing that this Thursday night game meant a compressed preparation schedule for the Hokies. And adding to that is the fact that this is a rivalry game being played in front of a national television audience on ESPN. There are potential recruits watching. Of course, the Black Diamond Trophy is also at stake. So Virginia Tech hoping to take that back for the first time in 5 years. And Brent Pry discussing how the players can manage all of those emotions.
They can be caught up a little bit on Thursday night, you know, to be emotional and in the moment. I get it. But, you know, what's most important to me is that we maximize each day of preparation. And you can't let your emotions get out in front of that.
Pry understands it's easier said than done. These are 18 to 22-year-olds that tend to get caught up in the moment, but he says this week is about being focused and thinking about the right things. And we're getting closer to kickoff. For under 90 minutes away. Much more to come here on Live at Lane. Stay with us. We're back after this.
Well, welcome back, everybody. WFXR News at 6 live at Lane. You know, one big thing, everyone looks forward to Enter Sandman when the Hokies run onto the field. It is a special moment for Virginia Tech fans and the Hokie Nation. But something special also happens at that same time. That happens at the 30-yard line at Lane Stadium. As we look at this, that's where staying there are 3 first-year cadets whose job is to receive the American flag, the state flag of Virginia, and the special teams flag from the Hokies when they take the field. Now, the traditions is special, and that is known as flag duty. It is a practice done at every game. Freshmen get the honor at home, while upperclassmen cadets, they have the responsibility on the road. Now, this tradition has been going on since 2005, and the cadets, they've been chosen based on their performance in the Corps. And after they receive the flags, the cadets, they render, honor, and carry them off of the field. So definitely a special moment right then and there. Meanwhile, there are 2 sides to every rivalry. When you look at Virginia Tech and West Virginia, a lot has been happening. Now, 3 weeks ago on a Thursday night, the West Virginia Mountaineers took part in another one of their big rivals against the Pitt Panthers. It was the backyard brawl, a packed house up at Pittsburgh at their football stadium, and it should be very similar here at Lane Stadium tonight. Now, earlier this week, I got a chance to talk to Golden Blue Nation's Angelica Chernone as we get a little perspective on the West Virginia Mountaineers from her.
What a unique opportunity to, one, play for a trophy in the middle of the regular season, right? Just something, another added layer to this game here. But for West Virginia, it's almost a chance to have the opposite outcome of what it was able to do week 1. You just brought it up, a rivalry game, Thursday night on the road, a rowdy atmosphere, which is exactly what everybody in this program is expecting in Blacksburg. And I think for West Virginia, it's also an opportunity to show that it's not the same team that it has been showing out on the field, especially whenever it comes to the defensive side of the ball. So I know it's an opportunity for West Virginia to get in this rivalry game, but for the Mountaineers, it's also an opportunity to prove that they're better than what they've put on tape over the past few weeks.
And that was Angelica Chernone. To see my full interview with Angelica, we'll have it on WFXRTV.com. Well, Thursday nights at Lane Stadium, it's like, you know, the 1st and the 15th when you're in the military, you get paid, and that's what we have, a Hokies football tradition. Now, this tradition began on this date, 1994. ESPN said, hey, Virginia Tech, we want you to be on Thursday Night Football. And the irony of it, they played the West Virginia Mountaineers. They got the win 34-6. Now, earlier this week, I caught up with a guy that's had his fair share of these West Virginia Tech matchups. That's former longtime defensive coordinator for the Hokies, Bud Foster. And he shares his memories about Thursday Night Football at Lane Stadium.
Kind of us and ESPN, actually, and particularly Thursday Night Football, grew up together, you know, with those guys, Kirk Herbstreit and company, coming through on a regular basis. But yeah, I mean, Thursday night in Lane it's like no other place. And I mean, it's a great atmosphere. You know, we've always had great opponents on a Thursday night, and this is another one. And I know the energy is going to be exciting. I know our players are looking forward to it, and our staff. You know, I think we've improved the last couple of weeks. And it's got the makings of a great football game, an extremely competitive game. And I'm looking forward to sitting right in there, and I'll be jumping when Enter Sandman, you know, hits in my spot.
Okay. Indeed. Now, one thing, Bud Foster, he will get an opportunity to enjoy some of the tailgating. He didn't get that opportunity when he was coaching on the field, so he's going to definitely make up of lost time. And speaking of tailgating, Kathleen and Drew, they had a tough assignment, as we'll check in on them in a few minutes as they talk about the tailgating scene.
Okay, so what is good football without a really good tailgate? And today, we found a phenomenal tailgate. Dozens of people coming together with some really cool aspects about what they do.
It's a lot more fun with a tailgate.
Yes, it is. Cody Short is actually joining us. Now, Cody, I understand that this is your tailgate, and I don't know if the viewers can see behind us, but that's a lunch pail.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
Yeah, it's 11.5 foot tall lunch pail. I built that to pay homage to the hard work and dedication that Virginia Tech does on defense and preparing for the games. I went to school here. I learned about all kinds of engineering to be able to build something like this.
It's quite impressive.
It's really cool. And it can be tough to get up on a Thursday for a game. You know, this is not your typical Saturday, but you've been through some other things when it comes to these kind of tailgates. You tailgated through a hurricane.
Yes. When I first built the lunch pail, there was a game canceled, and I told the guys, you know, there's nothing else to do. Let's go to Blacksburg. Let's tailgate. And so we had everybody come out. We had a tailgate, and we just waited for somebody to tell us to leave, but nobody would. We watched football on TV. We had a great time. Blacksburg in the fall is the place to be.
Well, that's what we've heard. Now, listen, it looks like, I've never been very good at math, but it looks like you guys have a couple dozen people just in your tailgate alone. How long have you all been tailgating together?
Yes, you know, some people come and go. We've had people get married, get jobs, move around, but you know, it's all about these people. There's no tailgate without these people. We have grill masters out here making some great stuff. We have bartender out here making some great drinks. And if it weren't for these people, there would be no tailgate.
All right, I think we have time for one final question.
Yes.
Who's winning the game tonight?
Virginia Tech. Oh.
Give me some comments. You know who's going to win. Tell us.
We will beat West Virginia today.
Woo! All right, there you go.
You heard it here first.
Back to you.
I tell you, Drew and Kathleen, such a tough assignment. But they weren't the only ones to enjoy some tailgating. Our very own Kelsey John Baptiste got a chance to partake in some of the tailgating festivities.
I'm Kelsey John Baptiste at Lane Stadium, and coming up, you will get to meet the guy who is trying to break the record for most attended college football games on a road trip.
Okay, now we want to introduce you to a man who is trying to break a world record. That world record is for the most attended college football games on a single road trip.
Yeah, his name's Ben Chase. He's already visited 12 college football games. The game tonight, that'll be his 13th game.
Indeed, that's a whole lot of tailgating, but Kelsey John Baptiste caught up with Chase to understand his journey from breaking a record of 60 games.
Call it crazy or call it the love for college football fanatic Ben Chase says he's doing something he never even imagined he would have done just a couple of years ago, but now he says he wants to be the first person to attend 60 college football games, and he's doing it by driving his own car. Chase says he always traveled to watch his team, the Florida Gators, play across the nation. He fell in love with meeting people, learning about different stories, and of course watching college football. Then he got the idea of beating the current record set by two brothers in 2016 of just 50 games.
I got 50, and I was like, all right, well, I think I can do 60. And mind you, I'm by myself. They had two people driving. But yeah, so that's kind of where it went. And I announced it 20-something days ago, and this is today. I'm going to be at the Virginia Tech game. It'll be game 13 already.
By Sunday, Chase said he will reach 16 games. And after tonight's game, his next stop is Syracuse, which is about 8.5 hours away. In Blacksburg, Kelsey Jean Baptiste, Wfxr News.
I gotta find the sun.
All right, Kelsey, thank you. Now we actually want to turn things over to Tab O'Neill in the Pinpoint Weather Center. Tab, can you do anything about this wind?
Well, you know, I saw the wind is catching your hair, the wind is blowing the scripts around, but I was really concerned about the wind blowing those plastic cups of adult beverages around. We need to stop that. I'll take a look at this forecast for you. Unfortunately, the wind is not going anywhere for a while. Let's check in on what's happening with the game tonight, West Virginia at Virginia Tech. We're looking at the blustery conditions to continue. About 64 degrees at kickoff, halftime around 60. Fourth quarter is going to be around 58 degrees. And like I mentioned, the winds 10 miles an hour, gusting upwards of 25 from time to time. That should be abating though as we work our way on through the game, maybe around halftime or so. Temperatures across the region right now falling out of the 80s where many of us felt today, down into the 70s and 60s with the passing of this cold front that's been pushing on through. Low temperatures tonight with a clear sky, and Roanoke is going to be taking it down to about 50. Excuse me, same for Lynchburg. South Boston at 53, Blacksburg at 46 tonight. Tomorrow, lots of sunshine. Temperatures will be in the upper 60s to the low 70s for the Roanoke region. Central Virginia is going to be in the low 70s. It'll be a cool first day of fall. These temperatures are a few degrees below normal for this time of year. Chatham at 70, Danville 72, South Boston 71 with lots of sunshine. For the New River Valley, tomorrow is going to be flannel and jacket weather. Temperatures in the 60s beneath a sunny sky. And for the Allegheny Highlands, it's going to be a pretty nice day if you like fall weather. Mostly sunny sweater weather. 63 in Lewisburg, 71 in Covington, and 70 for Clifton Forge. Newcastle at 69. Here's a look at the extended forecast. We're going to continue with the pleasant conditions on Saturday, feeling like fall and 75. Some showers on Sunday at about 79 for the daytime high, and then more fall weather comes our way Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday of next week. But for tonight, it's going to continue to be a little blustery. David, there at the stadium.
Coming up, we'll hear from the West Virginia native, raised a Mountaineers fan, but tonight playing for the Hokies. We're going to hear from Grant Wells when we come back. Well, in just over an hour, the Hokies will be storming out of the tunnel right behind me to enter Sandman in one of the most electric atmospheres that we've seen in Lane Stadium in quite some time. Among the Hokies taking the field tonight is Grant Wells, a native of Charleston, West Virginia, also the starting quarterback for Virginia Tech, and he grew up as a fan of the Mountaineers. He says you had no choice. Ironically, his college career actually started at Marshall in Huntington, West Virginia, where he spent 2 seasons as a starting QB, before eventually ending up here at his dad's alma mater at Virginia Tech. So this is a game that Wells has been looking forward to for a while, but he says he's going to put those emotions aside when that first snap comes around.
Just a nameless opponent. You know, when you get down to it, they're only going to have 11 guys. We're only going to have 11 guys. You know, we're going to have a lot of help in Lane Stadium, obviously, and you know, we feed off their emotion. You know, they're going to show out big. I saw it today; it was sold out. I think everybody in that locker room is really excited to play in front of them.
Now, Wells says he planned to spend today just relaxing, not thinking too much about the game because he says that'll tire you out. He also planned to take a couple of naps between walkthroughs, and we're going to see pretty soon if that pays off because, guys, the wait is almost over.
Oh, we've seen so many fans kind of funnel into the stadium behind us. There really is a lot of excitement in the air, though, being in Blacksburg, being outside of Lane Stadium.
Beautiful night, sun's starting to set, which means it's almost game time.
I tell you, when we kick that thing off in roughly an hour now, there's going to be so much energy in the place. You're going to have the inner Sandman, and there's a good contingent of West Virginia fans here because they sold out all their tickets, and if you're a West Virginia fan close to the West Virginia border, you didn't have that far to go.
No,
so you know when you saw this game on the schedule, you were going to grab those tickets.
I actually met 2 fans who they just as a couple they enjoy going to different football stadiums, but they said they came to this game only reason Inner Sandman. They weren't cheering for either team. I don't think they cared about that, but they wanted to hear Inner Sandman.
I'm excited about that too. The sentiment is mutual there. So
just like I'm excited.
I'm in it.
It's one of the greatest entrances in college football because you can't beat that at all. So it's going to be a fun one, and it's going to go down the wire. I think it's going to be it's rivalry games. You never know. Have a player. You never know what could happen.
Yeah, we do want to thank you all for joining us for this special edition of Wfxr News at 6. It's been so much fun to be with you out here.
Yeah, and we'll be hanging out here for the rest of the night. We're done on TV, but be sure to tune in tonight for Evan Johnson at 10 o'clock.
That's right, Big Evan on the scene, handling things. Again, it was a cast of thousands putting this together. We thank for everyone here hooking it up as live at Lane. The Wfxr News style is awesome.
All right, thanks again for joining us, guys. Have a great night.